deserves harsh punishment and fines and jail time, but I don't know about more jail time. What do you think?
I would have done 3 years.
Jail time?
3 years, but 9 months. So it would be 3 years, but every hunt season. So he would just have to go back to jail. So he would have to sit in jail during hunt season.
That's good. That's clever. I think by the time he got out, he paid hunting. We were doing the math.
Hey, watch your mouth. What are we gonna do today, boys?
Throw some spikes, 3-pointers.
Hell yeah.
Go, bud.
Go, baby.
Yeah.
Welcome back to episode 14. It's been a while, but we're back up and running, and we're at our new studio.
Yeah.
We are at the Sandy Woods.
Sandy Woods official site.
Yeah, we might get rained on or struck by lightning, but we're here. Did a little bit of work on the farm today. Got some cameras. As you can see, we got our Moultrie. They're empty because we installed them. But as of probably about a month ago, I'm on the Moultrie field team. So I kind of I got to promote their products a little bit and show them how to. Maybe throughout the whole entire episode, I'm going to be picking these spurs out of my...
At least you're not swatting bugs. At least those storms gotten the bugs out of the way.
But yeah, I'm on the Moultrie field team, so start promoting them a lot more. And not because they tell me to. They're a great camera. We've got 5 of them total now. We got the Edge 2 Pro, and that thing is badass. So I'm pretty excited to see some footage, and we got to lock down one more location. So
yeah, it's important.
We got 5 cameras, and we're gonna know where all the deer are on the property now.
It's completely changed the way that we hunt too.
Yeah, it's
and just not Moultrie, just all the cellular cameras in general have just been amazing. But Moultrie had no complaints. Like, the batteries stay charged, solar panels are great.
Highly recommend the solar panels because I mean they
don't have to worry about it.
You buy your batteries and then let the sun take care of the rest. So
yeah. Just hoping there's not weather like this more time.
I know, that's
as long as this doesn't hit us. This is kind of nice.
Yeah, keeping the bugs off of us.
90 degrees today, with bugs all over. So hopefully the wind doesn't take out our audio, right?
I guess we're gonna find out. And we also got a new editor.
I think that was the bee that got you.
No, it's these spurs.
Oh. Yeah, a new member of Sandy Woods, I guess. That's my brother Connor. We'll have him on once or twice soon, hopefully sooner than later. Just because we haven't had him on, and he's a really good hunter, and he's doing our videos and helping us out, put shorts out and everything. So excited for that. You good?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. You're sitting down, so you shouldn't hurt you too bad.
Yeah, my bad. Connor's good. He was in he was in college, so we haven't really seen much of him.
We talked about him a little bit with the baseball while we were grinding through episodes in the winter. We had the games on during the podcast a lot of times, so he's interested. He's a smart kid that wants to get into like software and analytics and stuff. So he said, while he's trying to find a job, he'll help us out, make a little money from us, and hopefully we take off. He doesn't have to get a job, right?
Absolutely.
So
yeah, what are we going to talk about today?
So I wanted to continue something we were doing before, okay? And it's kind of hard because this is not hunting season, but I still want to do a weekly update. All right, this is our first time back in a while, and we're going to continue to do it every week. We had some hiccups, early spring. We don't have to get into it, but just so everybody knows, half of our videos got deleted on YouTube. Again, wasn't our fault, but can't control what happened. It put us down for a while, but and we almost gave it up, but
Yeah, it just took our momentum just right from us.
so we were doing a weekly update prior to that happening, and it's August, so I guess the only kind of weekly update we can give is we got our new Edge 2 Pro and the solar panels, and we have currently made our hit list for bucks. You know, it's that time of year. What is it, August 18th?
Yeah.
And we've got 4 or 5 hit list bucks this year, which is more than last year. It was kind of like 2 years ago.
I'll go ahead and I'll name them now, and I'll
Give them the name because you and your girlfriend came up with the names, which
she came up with one.
well, that's part of it. Which is, and
Yeah.
then you came up with the rest, right? Which is cool. We gave you the opportunity to, and I like the names personally.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna throw the pictures up too. Okay. So, our main one is Loch Ness. His name has changed a few times. It went from Big Nine to Ghost, and that was last year. And we got him on camera this year, and he's a monster. So we named him Loch Ness. And then probably our second biggest deer, we called him Cowboy. I don't know where that one came from, but
That was all you, but
yeah. And I was like, all right, yeah, we'll name him Cowboy. I think he's a big 9.
taller frame.
Yeah,
We're gonna show.
kind of identical to Loch Ness, but he's not nowhere near.
Kind of the one you killed last year. Very similar.
Yeah, a little bit bigger. G2 is a little bit bigger. Then we got Barbed Wire. He's a 10-pointer, short tines. Kind of on the wider side, but his tines are kind of short, so I just named him Barbed Wire.
He's showing up like every day. So Loch Ness has kind of been ghost for weeks.
Yeah.
Cowboy is very hit or miss. Right now, Barbed Wire is not safe if this continues the trend to day one. And then there's another one that's showing up frequently,
Striker.
Striker.
That's one Savannah named. He's okay. He might test you during, October. He's taller, not very wide, but he's got it. I mean, he's a nice deer.
9-pointer, 10-pointer.
I think he's a 10 too.
You know what's crazy? We normally have all 8-pointers with like 1.9 or 1.10. We've got 3 10-pointers, 2 9-pointers, or 1.9,
Yeah.
and which is super rare. We got a couple scrub 8s, but all of our hit list, we don't have an 8-pointer hit list deer, which is unheard of in this area.
Right. I mean, we've been pretty well. I mean, we've been managing it pretty well. Kind of really making sure that we're shooting the right deer. Because the past, probably think back when we were in high school, it was, basket 8 was on the hit list. But
And like 2, which is kind of cool, like adding those 2 extra points, like Barbed Wire. Like if he's an 8-pointer, probably don't even give him a look, right? But just those 2 extra points, right? I mean, it just makes it a nicer deer. It looks nice.
yeah, he's got like the double crab claws up front.
Right. And he's got G2s probably
I think
6 to 8, and then he's got very similar tines all the way through. He's almost like the Funky Buck,
Yeah.
but a year younger.
So where he's gonna get his points is probably his main beam. So when you measure his main beam, that's where you're gonna get the most points there.
We just guessed probably 120s, low 130s, right? Not a huge deer. We're guessing Cowboys probably high 130s, low 140s, and people are gonna roll their eyes when I say this, but I think Loch Ness goes over 160. I think he's one of the biggest deers in this area, by far. One of the biggest deer we've ever had on camera before season. Not even close.
Yeah, he's a giant. He's huge.
I mean, he's got 12 to 15 inch G2s and then 12 to 15 inch G3s.
Yeah.
I mean, matching with big frame, with the over 20 foot,
And he looks like a damn horse too.
I mean, he's 5. We've tracked him and aged him all the way through. this is our 4th year with cellular cameras. He's been on there all 4 years, right? We got him as kind of a smaller 8, so we kind of added a year to him. So it's a pretty good estimate of 5-year-old. He could be 6, which is kind of crazy.
I think he's 5.
I would think so too. But yeah, exciting times to come.
Yeah, yesterday I came out and shot, and I feel pretty confident now, especially my 308. My 308 is pretty dialed in, and my muzzleloader is just about right there with it.
Yeah, man. Confidence in your shot.
That's what we talked about.
Yeah, that wasn't your number one. That was close to both of our number ones.
Yeah.
Excited to get your gun, right?
Sure, you're on it. Gives you a lot more confidence once that big buck comes out.
All right, so let's talk about a case that's going on. Yeah, it's getting closer. So the reason I want to bring this up, and this happened last year in December, but the sentencing was on Friday, I believe. So unless you're from Virginia, you probably don't know much about this case. It's called the Hollywood Cemetery Buck, or just Hollywood Buck. I know.
Yeah, a lot of people have been calling it the Hollywood buck.
Yeah, Hollywood Buck.
Rightfully so.
Yeah, it's a nice buck. So this is a poaching story. Right? I'm not going to story tell it. We're going to kind of briefly tell you what it is and then give our opinions, and we'll move on. So basically, there was this buck that scored over a 200 in a cemetery in Richmond, Virginia, that was known to the community. It was one of those bucks where you could almost go up and feed it, is what I've heard. It was not a normal buck, right? Normal deer, you can't get close to them, right? It was like a symbol for the community. Like, it was, I heard and read that he was on flags. He was, there's t-shirts being sold in the city. He was like a pet. And so this guy named Jason Walters ended up poaching this buck on December 14th, 2023 in the cemetery. Quick recap of how he got caught, and then we'll kind of backtrack and give you a little bit of the story. So I think you know about Star City Whitetail, the Facebook page. It's a pretty famous page. They post big bucks, kind of like Virginia wall hangers, or what is it called? The
Virginia whitetail.
Whitetail, yeah, something. Which is cool. They give the hunters clout when they kill a big deer, right? They give the name, the county, or city, and kind of the background. So this guy poaches this deer, kills it, brings it back in a car to his hunt club that he claimed he shot it at. Posted on Star City Whitetail. The guy that heads up Star City Whitetail on Facebook, I watched an interview he had, and basically he said, "Oh wow, it's a nice deer." He posted it, and just his DM started getting flooded with comments about people seeing that deer. It was called the cemetery Hollywood deer, Hollywood buck, and that there's no way that guy killed the deer where he said. So he contacted the game wardens, and boom, an investigation started. Did you read up on it at all? What was your interpretation of kind of how that went?
It's crazy, and I'm not saying that it's a bad thing either. I think it's crazy how much effort goes into something like this, because if you were to say, "Oh, they found blood and hair and all this stuff," and went this far into an investigation over a deer somebody hunted, that's good, but it's crazy that they would do that. And I'm so happy that they did, because in my opinion, that's so messed up. It's so messed up. And I've heard stories of and like people, like friends of friends down the line, like, I know this guy that does this, and obviously I don't know their names or who they are. It's like, I got a cousin, brother of a cousin, blah blah blah, that would shoot deer at night. And it's like, why? It takes all the respect out of the game. It's like, you know how hard it is to shoot a nice buck, and it's just completely unfair to go in there and shoot, especially a symbol like that.
Crazy.
I think he got what he deserved. What did he get?
So Jason Walters got 6 months in prison with 24 years banned from hunting. It's pretty harsh.
Yeah.
He originally was going to get 100 years banned with 6 years in prison, but that all got suspended down. But the crazy thing is, all right, so let me kind of, because you mentioned it a little bit, so let me dig deeper. So I went in a rabbit hole on the way here of like listening to YouTube videos on this, right? So there was a guy, there's a skate park beside the cemetery, okay? And there was a guy that hung out there all the time, and he was a deer hunter, okay? And he used to see this deer all the time. So he was also a wildlife research guy, all right? And he was doing like a project or like a research on shedding in the Richmond area. So he put a trail cam video or camera out by the cemetery, left it out there for 6 months. Totally forgot it was out there. But when all this happened, he remembered, oh shoot, I have a camera in the woods near that area. So when all this happened, he went and got his camera, okay? So he got a guy on the camera who was not Jason Walters, right? It was, his name was Alan Prophet. So Alan Prophet was on this camera with a bow, all right, that this guy caught in the cemetery hunting, okay? Going back to the story, Alan Prophet was the guy that drove Jason Walters to the cemetery on December 13th to kill that deer, okay? And during the investigation, they found an SUV with the deer in it, which was Alan Prophet's, that had blood and whitetail hair in the car, which kind of pulled the investigation together, all right? But it gets even crazier, okay? Yeah. So Jason Walters, the guy that killed the Hollywood buck, okay, earlier in the year posted 2 big bucks to Star City Whitetail, all right? Really good bucks. They were like, it was like a 140 and a 160, right? That nobody knew about, like the Hollywood buck, but people did know in the cemetery, right? This dude that had the camera that was at the skate park got both of those bucks on camera that he had killed previously during the year. So this guy literally screwed Jason Walters in regards to in the court, right? Which was a good thing. It all worked out, right? So he got Alan Prophet on camera. He got both bucks that Jason Walters had killed in the previous months, all right? And so with that evidence, Jason Walters got tons of counts of
it was like 20 counts of wildlife violations.
So this guy poached 3 deer in that cemetery in 1 year. In my opinion, it's like if you are that obsessed with having to kill a buck, right? There's nobody more obsessed than me and you about killing a buck, right? But when you here comes the storm. It's getting a little darker. When you have to,
shit, there might be a tornado watch.
This is hey, at least it's cool. I'll take this over hot and mosquitoes all day. If you have to go to that extent to kill a buck, that just tells me you can't kill a buck on your own property, right? Or you just have no feelings or any type of soul to know what's ethical and what's
You
not.
got zero respect for the hunt. I mean, it's, how do I put this without sounding soft? It sucks when you don't get the big one, like Big 9 last year, but also like you got to respect the hell out of that deer because they're smart enough to avoid. How many hunters are blocks and blocks down Sandy Woods? It's like this deer has escaped so many hunters, especially us. We got 13, 14 stands, and a lot of us hunt a lot, and this deer is just smart enough to not get around. And you're right. If you got to go to that extent to kill a deer, and then your pride has to show them off, like, you're an idiot.
Oh, that's when you know
you're an idiot.
Yeah. It's just like, you know, the killers are like people that do horrible things and then like try to show it off. There's just something there that's not going on up top that, you know, should be. And the most important part of all this is it shows people, like, if you're thinking about doing something, probably should rethink it, because as much as I can get away with killing this buck at dark or right near my land, or in a place where I know I can kill him but nobody hangs out, you go ahead and try it and get caught, you're going to be banned for a long time with jail time.
I have a random question. Would you rather have say like a 160 to 170 buck and have that for the next 10 years? Or would you have multiple 140s?
Why do you ask that? What is it? How does that relate?
Well, I don't know. It's just a question that popped into my mind, because it's like you're always chasing after the biggest deer. And I feel like in that guy's head, it's like, I got the biggest deer. I'm him. And it's like, and then you look at all these other guys that consistently kill nice bucks. And, not everybody is killed like that one giant. So, like, would you rather have like that, like almost borderline state record, and that be it for 10 years? Or would you have multiple? Me too.
Keeps the fun in it.
Yeah.
Keeps the anticipation high, even though state record keeps it high too. But, again, those bucks are smart, man. When they get 5, 6, 7 years old, like, you really have to outsmart them, and you really only get, sunny and thunder. You know what that means, right? Tornado. I mean, you only get very little spurts throughout the year of them making a mistake. But pretty crazy stuff, right?
That is insane. It would be really insane if a buck just like walked out right out here.
I think we might go viral, right?
I mean, we've been out here talking before, and the deer will come right out here.
Yeah, I mean, one of our stands is right down there. I mean, you're seeing, this is the main field, power line, like everything you hear us talk about, you can kind of see in this picture that we made. But so that was something we wanted to bring up, and made for a good conversation, just because Richmond's an hour and a half away, and it's kind of been all over my social media.
Well, do you think it was enough time, or you think he should have got more time?
I think people will have extreme opinions on it, but and animal cruelty is not anything, or animal ethics is not anything to joke around about, right? But it's not like he killed a person, right?
Right.
Like he deserves harsh punishment and fines and jail time, but I don't know about more jail time. What do you think?
I would have done 3 years.
Jail time?
3 years, but only 9 months. So it would be 3 years, but every hunting season. So he would just have to go back to jail. So he had to. So he would have to sit. So he would have to sit in jail during hunting season.
That's good. That's clever. Yeah. He would. I think by the time he got out, he'd hate hunting. Well, we were doing the math, and I was talking to my dad. He's 36. He'll be 60 when he can hunt again.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think lesson learned.
Can you imagine being in jail and somebody's like, "Yeah, so what are you in here for?" I killed a big buck.
That's probably how he talks too.
Killed a big old buck in the cemetery. Oops.
Look at him like, what? Get out of here. Yeah, good story. But all right, let's start to end on our last topic. We're gonna try to keep these episodes a little bit shorter, because we're gonna do them more frequent and try to do these every weekend and post every weekend.
Right.
So, and just so I watch YouTube, and any video that's over an hour long, that's hard to watch unless you got tons of time. Normally it's a car ride back and forth. If you find something else, you don't end up finishing the video. So try to keep this a little bit shorter. So just wanted to kind of talk about how we're preparing for deer season in August, kind of our process and our progression to it. And while I think it's probably the most important month of the year in regards to setting everything up. So I'll just kind of name a couple things you can jump into and kind of add on to what I say, and then we'll call it a day before the storm comes in. We've been lucky so far. So days like today are my favorite days, because Well, in August it's fun because obviously the feeding is still legal, right? So where we're at, you have to stop feeding with feeders or throwing food out or any type of, you know, way that you can feed the deer without it being planted. So, you know, we've got 2 weeks left of hitting the feeders hard. So like today, me and you, we buy corn from Tractor Supply. We go out, we took some cool video with your drone of us kind of putting the camera up, you know, putting a new solar panel on, feeding the fillers or the
Feeding the fillers.
feeding the fillers. It's been a while, still a little rusty. And then adjusting the setting, the automatic setting to where we're throwing more corn out because we've kind of been soft with that. But I thought that was pretty fun today. What do you think?
Yeah, got a stand up. Got, like we already mentioned, we got 5 cameras up now. Really, all we have to do, we got enough corn. I'm pretty sure we have enough corn to last us for 2 weeks. I think the next best thing to do now is kind of focusing on where we want to put our stands and if we want to put new stands up, especially with the cameras. I think you kind of get an idea where they're coming from. And what do you think we have, like 13 to 15 stands probably. The thing with the cameras is that it gives you an idea where they're coming from, and you'd never think to put a stand there. And you kind of find like the middle spot of where you think they're coming from. No, but I think right now it's get the stands up and then really start focusing on our food plots and where we want to plant. And that's coming very, very, very soon.
We might be. So last year we were in a drought in August. It was one of the hottest Augusts in history. I mean, at this point, it was in the hundreds almost every day for like a 2-3 week span in August. I mean, it was miserable.
We're in the high 80s today, which is pretty good.
This has been a very mild August here in Southeast Virginia. I just saw something the other day. We're 10.5 inches above average in rainfall, which is huge.
It's pretty good.
It is good. It's a good number. I caught on to that while I was saying. So we're 10.5 inches over the average in rainfall, which is unheard of in August because that's normally the driest month of the year. So I know a lot of people, not necessarily right in our area, but in Virginia, that have already planted their plots or started.
Yeah.
Right. Last year we did it the last week in August, which will be next week, and then some into the following week, which is when we plan to do it again because we found rain and we didn't want our plots to dry out. So we're in the process of figuring out the exact days. You know, we're not quite there, but we're starting to look on certain days, weeks in advance to see what the weather's going to look like. If we have to push into September a little bit, that's fine. We're not expert food plot guys, right? We till up, we lime, we try to make sure our pH is good enough, right? We get stuff that grows pretty much anywhere.
Yeah, last year was brutal because we could not catch a break trying to find a day to do it because it felt like we didn't have rain for like almost 3-4 weeks. It felt like because we kept having to delay when we wanted to plant, and then it got to the point where we had to bring a water tank out here.
Yeah, that's right. We had to spray through a water tank. But we're the cool thing is I found a place in North Carolina that's gonna kind of give us the easiest stuff to grow, the less riskier type crops, right? Because we do have, you know, a sandier soil. Our pH is not the same all around. But it looks like we're gonna grow a couple types of clover. We're gonna go oats again. Might do some alfalfa. You know, stuff that's easier. Winter rye, which worked really well on the other side of the farm. You know, we have plenty of planted beans, as you can see behind us. We have corn on the side of us, right?
We got corn for miles this year.
But the only problem with those plots are they're big plots, right? So it's really hard to, you know, get the deer, especially early season and bow, in shootable range. So we have multiple smaller acre plots that we can, get a shot on, and we can set up to where if they come into the plot, there's a good chance we get a shot, just like you did on what we thought was Big Nine last year. Was his little bit smaller brother, was in a less than an acre plot. It worked out perfect, right? That was buckwheat that we planted last year. It was a little bit hit or miss with the buckwheat. We may do a little bit. It was kind of, there's buckwheat in some of the mixed material that we get, right? But the buckwheat worked for you, So that's kind of where we are in August. Again, we try to get, most of the stands are up. We just put one up before this. We try to get all the stands up by September 1. Like, other than the farming part of it, we try to let it really sit for a month, 3 weeks to a month, right? Really kind of let it sit.
Another thing that I've noticed that we've kind of done away with dove season. We just don't even,
because we're so serious about this now. Like, we used to hunt the shit out of some doves, and we used to eat them. I used to have a blast. I still do. Good. But to me, at the current age that I'm at, it's like, it's not worth it. Like, all the time and money and effort spent here, it's like, why am I gonna come out and shoot 40 times and have run the risk of probably not, but run the risk of running one of our target deer out just because he doesn't like the shooting. You never know. Deer are weird, man. So
especially throw off their patterns.
Yeah.
The big Loch Ness, I don't know what his pattern is because he shows up. So
man, he's a guy that he makes your head spin at night. Like he was so patternable up to day one of the season. We've said this before on here. He was out at 8 o'clock one day before the season. I hunted one day.
It was October.
It was like either because the first day last year was what, the 6th?
Yeah, it was October.
It was like 4th or 5th.
Yeah.
He was out right under the stand. I mean, I remember seeing that picture.
That picture is like burned into my eyeballs. Like I know I've looked at it so many times,
but it's been different this year. Last summer he was out every day. Something up about this summer, I don't know what's the deal. He's not coming out as often. We lost him for 2 weeks early in the summer. Saw him again. Well, he was out early summer a lot. Lost him for 3 weeks about a month and a half ago. He reappeared twice about 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago.
You know what's crazy? He doesn't like to get close to the feeder. He usually, because he's right out here. Like, he is literally, our feeder is back in that corner, and he'll stay in the beans. And we've got like maybe 1 or 2 pictures of him up close. Because a lot of them there'll probably be about, I don't know, we've got 5 bucks, including barbed wire and striker, and then we got like a couple scrubs that'll hang out by the feeder, and he's like, fuck that, I ain't going over there.
You know what I was thinking when you were saying that? We're talking about dove hunting and, being all serious. People are probably like, why are you doing a podcast close to your stands? We're not close to our stands. We're at the home site. They can't see it, but there's a trailer and a Connex with bunks and everything. The deer are pretty comfortable with us.
I also think that us talking like this is a little bit quieter than a shotgun shooting it 40 times.
I wish a deer would come out. That would be cool.
Usually this is like the best spot too, right here on the power line. But
it's been fun though doing this. We said we wanted to do this for the longest time, and finally we're like, you know what? This is our first episode actually recording back. We got one uploaded that was old, but this is going to be the first one back. We're August 18th, and I think the last one we recorded was back in March.
Yeah,
or April. So it was actually April because it was turkey season, but. It's been fun, so let's close this thing out before we get rained on. It's been so good. Any last thoughts on what we talked about, or anything moving forward that you'd like to talk about on here?
I don't think so. I put my days in.
Oh yeah,
I got 4. So they're all Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays and Fridays to extend my weekend. So I've got 4 days in October that I took off, and I took off like 8 days in November, so I should be good to go.
Good stuff.
But I do want to talk about probably our next episode. We can probably talk about our food plots in detail.
Yeah, we'll know exactly what we're planning and where we're doing it, and the forecast with rain. We'll let everybody know on that, and then I'm kind of excited too because my least favorite month of the year, other than like super late season, is September, because that's when like all your patterns go away. Like it just frustrates you because you've gotten so close with these deer, you know them, they're showing up to your camera. I mean, you know, I could pick one out from a million deer, right? If we know them that well, and then they start to harden up in September, and you know, they start to get a little bit of testosterone back, and their patterns change, right? It's not that they're rutting or anything or pre-rutting, but they start to split up.
Yep.
You know, the bucks that were hanging together that you love to see together, like you see barbed wire, you know, the other ones are close to it, right? But
I got one last thing. One of the greatest things that I found with these cameras is that the other night I went back. This is when I was trying to plan out my days and what days to take. I went back 3 years and I looked at our activity on the cameras. So I found one picture. It was like a buck that I know that we had never seen before. So I was like, okay, well, this rut activity around here. I had the video of the deer fighting. I was like, okay, I'm kind of playing around that day. And then obviously your first couple of days of the season, that's about as close as you're going to get to a pattern deer. And it's so nice to just go back and look and see how the deer are acting around this time. Because I remember last year it was the rut was kind of off, it felt like. I didn't see very many rut activity.
yeah, agreed. I think I've been watching and like trying to get more information on stuff. I think this year something I'm gonna do different. I don't want to go out on a limb. We'll finish after this, but something that I'm really gonna focus in on this year and do more of is hunt scrapes, because I've watched multiple videos of people saying that is the easiest way to kill a big buck. Even though we do, you know, hunt them and we're aware of them, I don't think we're serious enough about them.
Right.
I want to be mobile. Like I might hunt on the ground. I might use my climber more. Like I'm going to really work hard on these scrapes this year, because they're scrapes for a reason, right? And you have to kind of study the area around the scrapes, right? And also something I'm going to do is around mid-October to late October, I'm going to find when it's going to rain, and I'm going to hunt those scrapes during the rain and the morning or evening after the rain, because that's when the bucks are freaking out about being able to find the does first and see. They want to know who's in the area, right? And they want to be first to it. So that's why they're constantly making sure they're sent.
Remember last year I put all the ropes up, did that, and then I work at Ferguson, so I bought a bunch of those sanitary tees, and I spray painted them, and I was gonna drill them in and get a stick, put them in there, just so they can have like rub and everything.
Always learning, right?
Talk more about it in another episode.
All right, so we'll conclude this one. I'm excited to see kind of the background look, right? We won't be here every time, but hopefully we can do this more often. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I like it out here, and we barely missed the rain.
I say we do.
You can see over there, like that's.
Oh, it was. If we were a couple miles down the road that way, we wouldn't be doing a podcast outside.
We wouldn't have made it.
We should definitely do this after hunts, or in between hunts.
Yeah, I'd like to do it after a hunt, especially
after a morning hunt or a deer hunt. Yeah, that would be really cool. But we'll keep planning it and try to improve each time, right?
Oh, I got a tattoo.
I like it. Yeah. Lucky enough.
Zach Bryan concert. Me and Savannah went Greensboro. Team tat. Well, my second one. You want to show everybody? No, okay.
We're good there. I think we'll show people next time. I like it though.
What?
I like the tat. All right, we'll see everybody next week.
Adios.
See? Nice.